In this demonstration I'm going to use an older version of Microsoft Access to create a database which we can then use for labels for either Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter mailings that we may have. Not so difficult to do. Let's just start off by opening Access, and we have a look on the right hand side here. We can a few little choices there that we can have to look on the website, see if there's anything pre-made that you can use, or we can do it from scratch. If you click on the file menu and go to new, you'll see that the panel in the right hand side is now changed. We want basically a blank database which we can call whatever we want. We need to name it at this point. We'll call it testDB. So we need to create that database. Now we have several choices here. We can create a table in design view using the wizard, or creating a table by entering data. Well, I prefer the design view. Makes more sense to me for some reason. We click on it and we end up with this big sheet, and this is where we set out the sort of fields that we want. This first column on the left is the auto number. Every part of the database has got a number, so it will automatically put a number in there. The first field name we want was obviously the Mr., Mrs. or Miss, the salutation, which we shall put in. That will be a text. Going across the thing here we have the salutation, the type of data it is. It can be numerical, be pounds, it can be dollars, whatever it wants to be, but in this case we're just using text throughout, and a brief description of what you want in there. Well, it's a database we're building for ourselves, so we know what we're putting in. We don't need a description, so I'm skipping that altogether. So we'll put the first field name as a salutation. The second line will just be the first name. Down a line to do the last name. If you wanted to put more in, you could put middle name, etc. if you wanted to, but in usual mailings you'd only end up with the first name and the last. It is sometimes handy to create a Mr. and Mrs. style database, but I'm not going to do that in this case. Right, so first name, last name. Addresses are awkward because in different parts of the country have different ideas, but so I found that by doing address line 1 or address 1, address 2, and after that the town that these people live in, followed by the state or the county that the people live in, and I'll follow that by the postal or zip code, and finally the country. Oh, can't even spell it. Country, there we go. And that is all we need for our database for the mailings. So what I'm going to do now is I should be able to save that, but if you would go to default and click on shutdown, it gives you the choice. Do you want to save the changes to table 1, yes or no? Yes, I do. I've just spent however long doing it. The table name can be table 1, that's fine with me. No primary key defined, don't worry about it. There we have it. There's our database, and there is table 1. Double click on that and it gives you the table itself that we can insert. So we can start by putting the salutation. The ID, auto ID number goes in automatically, so you can forget about that. The salutation, we can choose Mr., Mrs., Miss, whatever. First name, Archie. Last name, Andrews, whatever. We can put our friends' names and addresses in here. Address line 1 is, I don't know, it can be number 12. This street in this town, whatever it is, in, I don't know, I suppose we can put this county or state, whatever you want it to be. This is part of it. The zip code can be oh, I don't know, SK12 to BW or whatever you have as a zip code. You can put that in. Try to get it in capital letters. I just let that slip there. 12 to BW. And the country, whatever country it's going to, UK or anything you like. Zambia, if that's where you want it to go. That's going to take a while just to put all the, I was going to make about 25 or 26 different addresses and what have you in there. So I'll edit this bit out where I switch to having it completely done. And here we go. Here's the database I've thrown together. It's got 26 entries, and there's a bit of a variety there. They're all fictitious names and addresses and postcodes and provinces, states, towns, everything. It's just purely what I've made up in the last half hour or so. Anyway, this is our database which we've saved, so we can now go on to putting it together as a mailing list, which we need to go into Word, again using the 2003 version of Word. And what we can do is go straight into Tools, Letters and Mailings, and a Mail Merge. Now when you click on Mail Merge, on the right hand panel we can get the document type. We can do it on letters. We can mail merge a whole load of different envelopes if we've got them in. We can do letters with a standard letter with different names and addresses on it. We can do the envelopes, as I just said, and the one we're interested in here is the labels, because we're doing labels for cards or whatever, or to stick on 2 envelopes later on and have all the names and addresses in our database available on a label, so we can send them all a Christmas card or a Thanksgiving card or an Easter card, whatever. We can pick them out individually, send them birthday cards. Anyway, we need to click on Labels, and at the bottom here, step 1 of 6, we can click Next, Start in Document. So we'll have the label options. It says change the document layout or start from existing document. Well, we haven't made one, so we'll change the document layout and click on Label Options. Now this is a bit tricky because some people, they shop around and they buy cheaper labels that haven't got the Avery standard. I have some labels which are 6, I think it's 6 down and 3 across. So if we go to Avery A4 sizes and look down the list, we can click on one of the labels in the Avery list and look at the details, and it'll tell us it's 2 down and 2 across in this area here. Okay, that's obviously no good to us, so we can cancel that. We can carry on looking down until we find the sort of labels that we want. Here's address labels. Have a look at L7159. Have a look at the details. That's 3 across and 8 down. Bit too big for me. I need 7 down, I think. So I go to, I think the one is L7160, which is that one. And if we look at the details, it says it's 3 by 7, which is the one we want. Okay, we can OK that. Just telling us that we're changing the label over. So that's basically what my sheet of labels looks like without anything on it. So the next is select the recipients for our labels, and we can use an existing list because we've already created a database. We can browse for it, and if we go to my documents, we can find that there's the address database here that I created, and this is basically the list. It's all the ones I've just put in, all 26. Okay, so we can select that. We can edit the recipient list if we want. If there's somebody who we don't really want to have on our list, maybe for religious reasons, maybe like Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe don't celebrate Christmas, so we want to take them off the list to save insulting them. Okay, so we'll select OK for that. Next is arranging the labels, and we want an address block. And as you can see, Microsoft produced this basic layout. We need to look on here to match the fields. They're using a standard layout of their fields, and it is very similar to ours, so we can click on Match Fields. They start off with first name, last name, etc. Well, we want the very first section to be our salutation, and you have to work down first name, last name. We're not doing a company, so you can leave that not matched. Address line 1, fact, in company we could put address 1, and then in address 1 we can change that to address 2, so we have it in the same order on this little panel as we created it in our database. So it's salutation, first name, last name, address 1, address 2, the next one I think was town, the next one was state or province, and the last one post zip code, and we can not worry about that. It would pay just nip down the list and have a look, see if there's anything else. We've got address 2, we're going to put that not matched. Country or region, we'll put that not matched, because we've put all these in up above. So there we are. The only ones that concern us are the required information here. The rest is optional information. So we can click OK on that, and we can update all the labels. Oops, we can OK that, sorry, and update the labels. Now as you can see, we've got all the names in the blocks. We can preview our labels now. There we are. There's Albert Anderson, or Anderson Albert Mr. That's a bit back to front, isn't it? Okay, not happy with that. So we can go to previous, arrange the labels, and we can do the address block again, and then match the fields again. Can't understand why it's doing its own thing here. Right, courtesy title, we'll change that to salutation. First name is first name, last name is last name. I've done this so many times, and for it to go wrong even now, it shows sometimes, you know, you just take your eye off the ball for a second. So click OK on that, and then we can preview the labels again. That's better. Apart from I've got 2 versions of Mr. Albert Anderson there for whatever reason. But all the rest seem quite right, so we'll complete the merge on that. Edit individual labels, and I want to edit 1 to 1. Right, so we don't want this last little bit in there. Whoa. There we go. So that's what we've got. We've got all these laid out nicely. We've had a little error, which we've been in and edited it. Okay, so now we can print preview. That's exactly what it'll look like on the labels. You can do minor adjustments to location, so it's not sitting right. If you print it off the way it'll say, chances are it'll sit right on the line where the 2 labels meet. Now, just by moving it 1/10 of an inch or whatever, you do put that little bit of a border between on the edge of the label. When you're happy with that, simply enough to go to print. You've already laid it out, and obviously click OK. That will produce then the print of the labels when my printer finally decides to burst into action. So there we are. That's the merge. That'll give us in this case 21 different labels per page. It's going to produce 2 pages of labels, so make sure you have those loaded into your printer before you start off. You can do individual labels from these by just editing an individual label and printing. It's not as difficult as perhaps it first appears, and once you've done it a few times you'll think, that is so easy, I don't know why I haven't done this all the time. I have now the first page of my document in front of me, and it looks the way you would expect it to, which I shall put it in the scanner and put it up as for you to view in just a moment or two at the end of this demonstration. This demonstration will be available on YouTube as well as the club's website. Don't forget to subscribe to Howard L. Hall's YouTube channel, and if you like this particular demonstration, then tick the thumbs up sign. If you don't like it, then as usual, tick the thumbs up sign. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration.